When you're walking the twin flame path, it often feels like you're living between two worlds. On one hand, you're trying to stay grounded in your day to day life, handling responsibilities, building your own healing, and staying true to your own growth. But on the other hand, there's this deep, invisible pull towards someone who mirrors your soul, who reflects your deepest light and darkest shadow, your divine masculine. No matter how long it's been since you first awakened to the connection, or how long you've been apart in the physical world, the soul bond you share with your twin flame doesn't weaken. It evolves, it stretches, it deepens. Sometimes it even hurts. And at other times, it surprises you with its beauty. But in this sacred journey, there comes a point when you begin to feel something shift. Subtle at first, then stronger. You may not always be able to explain it, but you can feel it deep in your bones. The divine masculine is awakening. You can sense that something is changing in his world. A transformation, a cracking open, a remembering. This shift doesn't mean the reunion happens instantly. Often, right before the final union, the connection enters one of its most intense phases. There's a spiritual test, one last push to see how much you've truly grown, how much you've surrendered, and how ready you both are to step into sacred union. This test isn't punishment. It's a sacred threshold, a divine rite of passage. And that's why it's important to know the signs, because the soul knows long before the mind catches up. The signs your divine masculine sends, consciously or unconsciously, carry messages from spirit signaling that the time of reunion is drawing near. These are not just signs to observe. They're calls to rise, to remain steady, and to hold your heart open with love, faith, and grace. Let's start. Number 1, he begins facing his shadows with intensity. One of the first and most telling signs that your divine masculine is nearing readiness for union is his willingness, often sudden and intense, to face his own darkness. You may not see this directly, but you'll feel it energetically. If you've been deeply connected to him, you'll sense his inner world becoming turbulent, like a storm clearing out everything that no longer belongs. He might begin to confront deep wounds from his past, old traumas, unresolved guilt, emotional pain he once buried under work, distractions, or silence. This phase is uncomfortable for him. It's raw and unfamiliar. For many divine masculines, vulnerability has been a foreign language. But the soul bond he shares with you acts like a mirror, forcing him to see the parts of himself he tried to avoid. This is a spiritual detox. Everything false or superficial begins to fall away. During this time, you might notice that your own emotional body becomes more sensitive too. You might pick up on his grief, confusion, or fear. You might experience vivid dreams, emotional purges, or sudden memories surfacing in your own life. This is because your souls are clearing in tandem. The important thing here is to remain centered in your own healing. Don't rush in to fix him. Don't try to force communication. Instead, hold space. Your stillness becomes an anchor for him, and in your own way, reflect that same courage. Continue facing your own shadows too. You're preparing together, even if apart. This sign is not glamorous. It doesn't always look like love, but it's one of the deepest confirmations that the divine masculine is preparing for the next level of soul integration. He is beginning to realize that union won't come through escape, but through truth. Number 2, he begins breaking free from his karmic attachments. The second sign that the final reunion is nearing is that your divine masculine starts to untangle himself from karmic situations and patterns that once kept him spiritually asleep. These karmic attachments may show up as toxic relationships, draining jobs, old habits, or belief systems that limited his growth. For a long time, these attachments might have felt safe to him. They gave him structure, routine, even validation. But now, something deeper within him knows. Those things cannot come with him into union. This is not an easy process. It can be painful and even chaotic. You may hear of sudden endings, perhaps a breakup, a resignation, a relocation, or an identity shift. You may feel his soul almost screaming to be free. And if you're highly intuitive, you might feel a strong, energetic shift, as though the cords that once tied him to old energies are finally snapping. There's something sacred about this detachment. It's not about rebellion, it's about returning. His soul begins to crave authenticity. He no longer wants to live a life that doesn't match his truth. He's not just walking away from something. He's walking toward something real, toward himself, and toward you. During this time, your role is not to intervene, but to trust. The more you trust his process, the more empowered he becomes in his choices. Divine masculines often struggle with the fear of disappointing others, but this sign shows he's stepping into his own sovereignty. Let him fall. Let him rise. Let him choose himself, not just for you, but for his soul. Because this detachment from the false is what makes space for divine union to manifest in truth. Number 3, he begins expressing himself, even in small, vulnerable ways. When a divine masculine approaches union, he starts to find his voice. It may not be dramatic or obvious. In fact, it's often subtle at first. You might receive a message out of the blue or hear that he's been speaking about his feelings to someone you both know. Maybe you catch him posting something that reveals a more introspective side. These are signs that his throat chakra is healing. His inner voice is becoming aligned with his soul. For a long time, many divine masculines stay silent. They feel deeply, but they suppress expression. This silence isn't a lack of feeling, it's fear. Fear of judgment, fear of weakness, fear of vulnerability. But as his inner transformation deepens, the soul begins to push through the cracks. Expression becomes necessary. And here's where your divine feminine energy becomes powerful. When you stay in your heart space, open, calm, and grounded, you create a field of safety around the connection. He begins to feel that it's okay to speak, to be seen, to let you witness his heart. This stage can be delicate. Don't demand full declarations or rush commitments. Celebrate the small openings, the heartfelt message, the emotional honesty, the sincere question. These are sacred invitations, his way of reaching across the soul bridge saying, I'm coming home. Honor his timing, honor his courage, and respond with presence. Your steady, gentle response gives him the confidence to keep going. Each word, each shared feeling becomes a stepping stone toward reunion. Number 4, you experience heightened telepathy and soul syncing. A deeply mystical sign of nearing reunion is the increase in telepathic communication and energetic syncing between you and your divine masculine. This may show up in various ways. You might begin to feel his emotions in real time, sense when he's thinking about you, or hear songs and messages that seem perfectly timed. You may wake up from dreams where the two of you are meeting, talking, or reconciling. Often your days begin to align. You're thinking the same thoughts, encountering similar challenges, or feeling parallel emotions. This soul syncing is not imagination. It's soul-level preparation. The veils between you thin. Time and space lose meaning. Even if you're not speaking in the physical, your souls are communicating constantly. And this increase in telepathy is Spirit's way of helping you remember. You are not separate. What's also powerful here is that your own intuition becomes stronger. You begin to trust yourself more. You know when to reach out or when to stay silent. You sense what he needs, not to fix him, but to hold compassion. Your dreams and meditations become gateways to connection. This is where your faith becomes unshakable. Even when doubt arises, even when the mind questions everything, your soul whispers the truth. And the more you surrender to that truth, the more peace you feel, even if the external hasn't shifted yet. Use this time to deepen your connection to your own spirit. Meditate, journal, walk in nature, speak to your higher self. The more in tune you are with your own soul, the clearer your connection with him becomes. You are syncing at the blueprint level. Reunion is not just coming, it is being built in every breath. Number 5, he begins acknowledging the connection even without labels. There comes a time on this journey when the divine masculine can no longer deny the pull of the soul bond. He may not have the vocabulary for it. He may not use words like twin flame or sacred union, but you'll feel the shift. He begins to acknowledge the connection, not in theory, but in truth. This sign can be one of the most emotional phases for both twins. For so long, the masculine energy might have rejected, avoided, or rationalized the bond. It was easier to pretend it didn't mean much than to confront what it could change. But when the final reunion draws near, the walls begin to fall. The truth becomes louder than the fear. His actions might become more intentional. He may look at you differently, hold eye contact longer, or linger in conversations. If he's still physically distant, his words might take on a new energy, more honest, more heartfelt. He might reach out after long silence with no clear reason except that he felt you. He might share memories, say he never forgot, or admit he still thinks about you. This stage is about energetic truth more than specific words. It's not about titles or explanations. It's about resonance. He might say something simple like, "You've always meant something to me," or "I don't understand this, but I can't forget you." These small statements carry the weight of 1,000 truths. They are sacred. The most important thing here is to meet him with your heart, not your mind. You don't need to demand that he label the connection or understand it the way you do. What matters is that he's feeling it, allowing it, honoring it. That is the real breakthrough. Keep holding the frequency of love. Love without attachment. Love without pressure. When you embody that space, you make it easier for him to step into it too. This is how union starts, not with definitions, but with presence, with soul truth. Number 6, life begins rearranging itself to bring you together. This sign is perhaps the most magical and the most undeniable. When the final reunion is close, the universe itself begins to orchestrate events to align your paths. It may start subtly, a job change, a relocation, a sudden opportunity, or the unexpected crossing of mutual circles. You might be pulled to places you haven't visited in years, or feel called to return to a familiar city or environment. You may notice more synchronicities between your lives, similar challenges, mirrored breakthroughs, even people from your past resurfacing at the same time. The divine masculine may also find his outer world shifting rapidly. What once felt stable might fall apart. Old foundations, especially those built on fear or conformity, begin to crumble, and as difficult as this may seem, it's actually part of the divine plan. The old must clear to make space for the new. What's beautiful here is that you too begin preparing. You may feel the urge to release clutter, complete old cycles, or make space in your life, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You may begin to focus more on your soul mission, on grounding your gifts, and on aligning your life with your inner truth. This stage requires trust. Things might look uncertain on the surface, but underneath, spirit is working with precision. Every detour, delay, or disruption is leading you closer. It's not just a reunion of hearts, it's a convergence of timelines. Your paths are being magnetized. Here, surrender becomes your power. Let life move you. Let spirit guide you. Follow the nudges, the signs, the dreams. Keep your heart open and stay in alignment with your soul. When both twins are aligning within, the outer world begins to reflect that truth. The reunion becomes inevitable. Number 7, you feel a deep inner calm, even amidst the unknown. And now, the final sign, perhaps the most paradoxical, yet the most powerful of them all. As the reunion nears, you begin to feel a deep sense of calm. Not because everything is clear, not because you have all the answers, but because your soul knows. It knows the journey is reaching a turning point, and it knows you're ready, truly ready, for the next chapter. This inner calm doesn't come from external validation. It doesn't come from messages, confirmations, or even contact. It arises from within. A quiet, unwavering peace. You no longer chase the connection. You no longer try to control it. You are simply in it, whole, sovereign, and open. For many divine feminines, this is the point of spiritual maturity. The moment you shift from waiting to being, from yearning to embodying. You're no longer holding the connection with tension. You're holding it with grace. This peace is not the absence of longing. It's the integration of it. The acceptance of divine timing. The trust that what is meant for you will always find its way. And in that trust, your energy becomes magnetic. It invites rather than pushes. It holds rather than clings. It attracts rather than chases. Your divine masculine feels this. Energetically, it reaches him, and it creates a safe space for him to return, not to fill your void, but to meet you in wholeness. He may not know what changed, but he'll feel the call. This is the calm before the shift, the peace before the meeting, the breath before the leap. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. Stillness is sacred. It is where the reunion is born. If you've resonated with these signs, trust that your soul is speaking. The journey of twin flames is not linear. It's not bound by time, but it is guided by love, by truth, by a purpose larger than either of you alone. The divine masculine's return is not a reward for patience. It is the reflection of soul readiness. As he awakens, as he unravels, as he remembers, so do you. Reunion is not something that happens to you, it's something you become. It's the frequency you embody, the truth you live. Let these signs be your reminders. Let them guide you back to your own heart. Because the journey to union has always been the journey to yourself. And in finding yourself, you make space for love. Not just any love, but the love that was written in your soul from the beginning. Hold on. Not with desperation, but with devotion. Be patient, not with waiting, but with trust. Be open, not with expectations, but with faith. Your twin flame reunion is not a distant dream. It is a sacred becoming, and you, beloved soul, are right on time.